Something weird is going on, and as Joseph Wall's return is on the horizon, we have a very interesting update on his front. So I'm going to break that down in this episode, as well as discuss Oliver Ekman-Larsson. In a shocking turn of events, he has been fined the maximum amount, and this has Leafs fans absolutely fired up. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 14,000 subscribers. If you're part of the 70% that aren't subscribed, hitting that button would mean the world to Darius and myself. And a quick reminder, we will be live following the game tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets, so make sure to tune into that. But Darius, a lot to go over today, and interesting things are happening now, and the game time is getting closer and closer, and we still don't have a concrete answer on Joseph Woll yet, but we have some interesting things. All signs are pointing to him getting scratched tonight, or I guess not playing, not making his debut tonight. So you can see this here from Mark Shag a couple of very recently. Just Timothy Liljegren and David Kampf are skating for the Leafs at Nationwide this morning. Appears the goalie with them is Joseph Woll. Interpret at your own peril. So if you read in between the lines here, obviously Liljegren and David Kampf are probably going to be the guys who are scratched from tonight's game, and Joseph Woll is along with them, meaning, Darius, your prediction from yesterday's stream was correct. It seems like, at least, that Dennis Hildeby is going to be playing tonight. But David Kampf is also scratched, which is intriguing as well. So a bunch of different things to go over here, but something interesting is going on.
Yeah, so based on this tweet, and obviously there wasn't much this morning. The Leafs are not skating because they have a busy week, and it's a second half of a back-to-back, so they're not going to have a morning skate today. But the fact that these three guys were on the ice this morning tells me that every single one of them is not playing tonight. So in terms of the forward group, like we know Liljegren's been out, right? He's been a scratch, but this is David Kampf's first time missing a game this season. And to me, I think Holmberg's probably just going to slot over to center at the fourth line position, and then you insert Reeves back into the right wing position on fourth line. But in terms of Joseph Woll, again, there is a world where he's skating today, and he will play because he hasn't, played it all this season. He hasn't skated. So I guess there's no harm, no foul there with him skating this morning. But to me, this looks like Joseph Woll. We're going to have to wait from another game, and he might get the net on Thursday. And I think that it's probably going to be Dennis Hildeby that we'll see tonight, which is fine. This is the reason that the Leafs kind of short up their goaltending in the offseason. But yeah, to me, at least, this is what it looks like. It looks like Joseph Woll will be waiting until at least Thursday.
Yeah, and that was the big storyline. His targeted time, which we'll dive into in a minute here, was, of course, today against the Blue Jackets, a fairly easy team. And ultimately, yeah, it's intriguing to me. Obviously, David Kampf is getting, and could just be a night off for him. He hasn't played great, but he also hasn't played terrible. Second night of a back-to-back, but it is the first time he's going to miss a game. And that is, again, it's going to be interesting. Pontus Holmberg seems to factor back in there. Max Pacioretty, all those guys. Liljegren is going to remain out, at least according to this, for Connor Timmins. So the bigger story, though, here is, of course, Joseph Woll. And we rewind back to yesterday. He said that it's possible Joseph Woll will be available for tomorrow's game in Columbus. Didn't give too much insight there. Possible that he will be available. And if you rewind back to 4 or 5 days ago, when Craig Berube spoke on his timeline, he said sooner than later, I would think, but you got to take it day by day still. He liked how Woll looked at practice. Seems like he's really heading in the right direction. So obviously for a guy like Joseph Woll, you want him to be 100% healthy before you actually go out there and put him in any sort of game. And Darius, I know you mentioned on stream yesterday, you thought tonight would have been a good game anyways for Dennis Hildeby to get out there and get him another chance. Let Joseph Woll, I mean, the Leafs are going to be playing a bunch. They play today, they play Thursday, they play a big game on Monday against the Winnipeg Jets. So there's a ton of things going on. Saturday as well against the Bruins. So games are going to rack up very quickly, a lot of very important games. They obviously got off to a very good start against the Tampa Bay Lightning, one of the better games we've seen in years out of the team. But I think making and playing it slow for Joseph Woll is the right play here, and that seems like what all signs are pointing to them doing in tonight's game.
Yeah, and there's no need to rush him back either because of the way the goaltending has been going, right? And why the Leafs went out, like I just said, and got a bunch of guys this summer and re-signed Matt Murray, for example. And the only reason that Hildeby is up right now is because of the salary cap structure, and they're not able to bring up Matt Murray. And you know what? Just leave Matt Murray alone for a second. Let him get some starts with the Marlies, and everything's going well with the Marlies. They're undefeated. But to me, the longer Dennis Hildeby sits on the bench and doesn't play, the worse it is. Because yes, he's getting NHL experience, being with the guys, traveling, all that, but he's not playing. You want him to play. So eventually he will go down to the Marlies, and he might get into a game tonight. It's looking like it's going to be him tonight at this point in time, which I think is a good thing. Get him a start, get him playing, get that experience, and that's all good. But, with Joseph Woll, Stolarz is your starter right now. He's been playing fantastic. He's been brilliant. But with Joseph Woll, don't rush him back. He's playing his hometown team, the St. Louis Blues, on Thursday. Maybe you want to give him that start, make him feel good to start the season, and hopefully he gets back on track. But for the time being, I think you need Stolarz as rested as possible going into some crucial games coming up on Saturday and Monday against two really good teams in Boston and Winnipeg. And, hopefully Joseph Woll makes a return. And you want Hill to be in the net too, whether it's at the NHL level or the AHL level. He needs some starts. He can't be sitting on the bench too much.
There was some last year came up. We all thought he was going to make his NHL debut, and ultimately they didn't. They went with Martin Jones on the second night of a back-to-back last season. But what's interesting now is how they're going to play the Anthony Stolarz situation, because the Leafs, again, they play Thursday, Saturday, and Monday, and the biggest two games being against the Bruins Saturday and the Winnipeg Jets on Monday. So, I mean, there is a world where Stolarz plays Thursday, Saturday, Monday. That's probably the way they're going to go about it. But that means that Joseph Woll then won't factor in for at least another week or so. So there's a lot of different intriguing things to take out of this. But let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. Again, it's the groin tightness that kept him out. He said he's feeling better sooner than later. So hopefully he gets in. I guess there's still technically a chance he plays tonight, but according to this, all signs are pointing to him not making his debut for the season debut, that is tonight. But Darius, I want to touch on this. Has a lot of Leafs fans fired up. We saw OEL. He had a great game yesterday, threw his body around. He's been fined the maximum amount allowable under the CBA for interference on Jake Gensel. Now, obviously, Jake Gensel is, the Tampa Bay Lightning's big signing, very good, former Penguin, all this stuff. Interesting fine here, $5,000 for a hit. I didn't think it was too crazy, but I'm curious to see if you think it's what your thoughts are on this. A lot of Leafs fans are fired up. A few people said it's ridiculous. I don't agree with it necessarily, but I can kind of see where they're coming from. But I definitely wouldn't have fined him $5,000.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's on fire right now with this, and there's opinions on, either end, but, was it interference? Yes, right? It was interference. Was it egregious? I don't know for sure, and it was kind of a reverse hit, and, if the league wants to get rid of that, then maybe that's what they're trying to do here. A lot of people are speculating on Twitter right now that, it's the George Peros effect, and that he hates the Leafs, and that whole storyline that we've been talking about the last couple of years. A lot of Leafs get fined a lot of money and get suspended more so than other teams. This is something that's kind of been developing over the last couple of years and has been a storyline. So again, here's another fine to another Leaf. If they were trying to get rid of reverse hitting, exactly what Ekman-Larsson did, because it was a bit of a dangerous play. It was a bit of a dangerous play. They're trying to get rid of it, and that's why they're fining him. That's all fine. But the Leafs do get fined and suspended quite a bit. So that has been making the rounds on Twitter, and there's been opinions back and forth, not only on the fine and the George Peros stuff, but obviously on the play itself right now. So yeah, it was a bit of a dangerous play. I don't want to call it, dirty or anything like that. It was dangerous, and it was a reverse hit, and it was definitely interference. But for a $5,000 fine, it's pretty interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting hit. I mean, if they're trying to send a message not to do hits like this and make, contact where they did, you can make an argument it was towards the head. It was just a weird play. I think you could also make the argument there's a lot of other hits across the NHL that happen every week that are worse than this one, more intentional than this one, or whatever you want to do, that aren't getting $5,000 fines. So I don't know. It's been the whole suspension thing, fine thing has been interesting ever since some of the preseason games with Arbor Jack Guy and all those things. So I don't know. I think Leafs fans are a little bit fed up, which I'm also, as a Leafs fan, a little bit fed up with it. But I'll digress there. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. A very big game tonight, second night of a back-to-back. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond after a very good game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on all of this. So make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. Keep you up to date. And hopefully we'll see you in our stream tonight following the game. We'll see you guys later.